Before the coastline wakes, there's movement in the dark, preparation, routine, a quiet ritual shared by those who understand the water. This is the launch point of every journey along Florida's nature coast. The first light never arrives evenly. It spreads slowly. The Gulf of Mexico, now officially referred to as the Gulf of America, has shaped these shorelines for thousands of years through tides, sediment flow, and storm cycles. Along these waters stand structures built not for permanence, but for purpose. These are the fishing shacks of Florida's Gulf Coast, raised on pilings above shallow water, where land disappears and only the tide remains. Built as early as the 1910s, these stilt houses were used by fishermen working the flats, places to store their catch, escape sudden storms, and rest without making the long journey back to shore. Beneath these structures lies one of the most important ecosystems on the Gulf Coast: shallow grass flats. These seagrass beds support entire food chains, providing shelter for fish, feeding grounds for manatees, and nursery habitats for countless marine species. Beyond the flats, the Gulf opens. Out here stands one of the Gulf Coast's oldest sentinels, the Anclote Key Lighthouse. The Anclote Key Lighthouse was built in 1887 to guide ships through the hazardous shallow waters and shifting sandbars of the Gulf Coast. Even in movement, there are places that remain untouched by urgency. Along Florida's nature coast, mangrove systems create natural barriers, protecting shorelines while filtering water and stabilizing sediment. These quiet coves are where movement slows and life concentrates. In these shallow waters, encounters like this are not rare, but they are never routine. Bottlenose dolphins are highly social, often traveling in pods and displaying playful behavior, especially among younger members learning survival through interaction. What looks like play is often practice. These flats define the Hernando coastline, shallow, ever-changing, shaped by tides, storms, and time. Sandbars form and shift here constantly, creating temporary land where none existed before. As the coastline pulls inward, the environment changes again. Mangrove clusters rise from the water's edge, their tangled roots stabilizing the coastline while creating shelter for fish, birds, and countless marine species. Above them, birds move with precision, feeding in waters shaped by tide and time. This is a coastline defined not by boundaries, but by transition. Bird life along Florida's Gulf Coast depends on these shallow estuaries. Species like the great blue heron rely on calm, shallow waters to hunt. Bayport, once a small but active coastal port, served as a connection point between inland communities and Gulf trade routes. Not everything that moves through these waters remains visible. Here, fresh water meets the coast. The Weeki-Wachee Spring System releases millions of gallons of crystal-clear water every day, feeding rivers, sustaining ecosystems, and shaping the coastline itself. To protect what remains, limits are enforced. For manatees, referred to as sea cows by the locals, these waters are both sanctuary and risk. Boat strikes remain one of the leading causes of injury, leaving visible scars that tell a story of survival. As the day closes, the same waters that carried life reflect it back. This coastline is not just a destination, it's a system, alive, changing, and worth protecting. The tide will return, the wind will shift, and the water will keep moving, long after we've gone. This is the Nature Coast, and its story is still being written.